everyone. Welcome back to another solo show of the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast. Excited to be with you all today to talk about a topic that I think may have crossed your mind in the beginning stages of your career or may have come up as you were considering a pivot. And that is the topic of group coaching versus one-on-one coaching. I recently had a coach ask me which one I thought was better, and it kind of got me thinking. And what I ultimately arrived at was that I believe personality plays a huge part in answering this question. And so I'm hoping to kind of talk through things today to get you just thinking about your own self, your personality traits, what makes you tick, and how to best decide this if it's something you've kind of been thinking. So I think many new health coaches assume they should offer both group coaching and one-on-one to kind of be able to have a variety and meet the people who want to do group coaching and the ones who want to do one-on-one coaching at the same place. The truth is based on your personality, one might be much better for you than the other. And what I think, again, is really important to keep in mind is that your personality could play a huge role in what feels natural and what feels sustainable, right? And keeping this in mind as we kind of go through this conversation, I'm going to break down both group coaching and one-on-one and talk about some of the personality traits that I think align best with each one, and really kind of getting in tune with your style. And maybe you've been doing one or the other for a while, and this episode might kind of help you reframe things if you're looking to make a pivot. Okay, so why do I think your coaching style matters when it comes to this question? Energy management is a huge part of this. So burnout versus alignment is what is going to kind of be a huge player here. So if you are a very high energy, more extroverted type of personality, you might really like group coaching. If that would lead to a lot of burnout and you're looking to be more one-on-one aligned with someone, well, that's something that really you should take into consideration when talking about, again, which one is better for you. But managing your energy so that you don't lead to burnout is really important. Your client outcomes, right, are going to be better the more aligned you are. So if you are working in your zone, if you have that fire underneath you, if you are really authentically humming to exactly what makes you tick, your clients are going to pick up on that and their outcomes are going to be better, right? And ultimately, that's what we want, is our clients to get results. There's certainly business implications to consider, right? Scalability versus depth. So obviously group coaching is going to allow you to scale to greater degrees, but maybe you're someone who really likes to go deep with people, and that is going to be your superpower. And maybe you don't need to be helping 60 people a week in a group coaching container, maybe going really deep with 10 people who need that level of expertise is what's going to be your expertise. So something else to consider. And then again, it's not about what is best in general, it's what's best for you. So you need to think about how am I going to show up as the best version of myself with the most energy, the least amount of burnout, the most enthusiasm, and then be able to kind of get honest with that and move in that direction. Because ultimately, if you're showing up as really high energy and really aligned and super happy with what you're doing, your clients, are going to benefit from that the most versus if you're forcing a model just because you think it's what's best. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about some personality traits that I believe thrive in a one-on-one coaching container. These core traits are deep listeners, they're highly empathic, they're detail-oriented, certainly comfortable with some of that emotional intensity that it takes to have one-on-one conversations, and they're patient and process-driven. So all of these core traits are allowing you to kind of go real deep one-on-one with a client. And like I said, there are a lot of people out there who need this expertise. They need this one-on-one accountability. They need to go deeper. They've maybe tried group programs where they just weren't able to get the personalized and almost more emotional deep connection that they needed to create a lot of the health changes and health outcomes that they've been after and that we know they're capable of. So again, core traits that I think are important for one-on-one coaching: deep listeners, highly empathic, detail-oriented, comfortable with emotional intensity, and patient and process-driven. Okay. Your strengths in action will create tailored plans to that individual, right? These are clients that maybe they're not as highly motivated on their own. Kind of a broad program isn't going to allow them to get the personalized individual plan that they need. You will be able to hold space for vulnerable conversations, and you can pick up on subtle cues from these clients. So you are meeting one-on-one with them and you can see their body language. You can see their subtle cues of overwhelm or the facial expressions that they have, right? Or maybe the hopelessness in their voice or the fact that they're tearing up. You're able to kind of really hone in on some of these cues that allows you to meet these clients at a deeper level. Now, this isn't to say that you can't do this in group coaching, right? It's a little harder to do because you can't, if you're in a group with 30 people on Zoom or in a room, it's hard for you to pick up on every single person's cue at every moment. So it's not to say that these traits aren't going to serve you in a group coaching container, but they do tend to be much more important in a one-on-one container. Okay, so maybe some potential challenges of one-on-one coaching. More of that emotional fatigue because you are going really deep with clients, possibly time constraints or limited scalability. But like I said, don't let this, deter you from doing this process of work if this is something that speaks to you more than group coaching. Because it's possible that you charge more for very personalized, in-depth type of programs versus, charging a similar amount for a bunch of people in a group coaching container. So you want to remember that when you're charging for one-on-one, if you are someone that's going to go deep and you are going to give a lot of emotional support, that is what you're being compensated for. You are giving something that client needs, not just your knowledge and your written plans and interpretation of labs, but you're giving them the emotional container to be themselves, to show up as they are, to help them through whatever they need to work through. Because remember, a lot of the clients that we're working with, they've done some version of this before, oftentimes, and they haven't got the results they're looking for. And why not? Maybe this is the missing piece. And if your superpower is doing this, well, that is something that is unique to you that other people can't offer. And so therefore you are charging for a skill that you have attuned over time that is very important to the kinds of outcomes that a lot of these clients are seeking. So you obviously can't help as much people in a week's time frame as you could if you were doing group coaching, but that doesn't mean that you're less impactful. Okay, so keep that in mind. But yes, it does give you limited scalability. And then if you're not careful, you could, kind of overgive or have blurred boundaries in some of the one-on-one coaching. But that really is where boundary setting and being really clear with, again, all of the facets of how you're going to show up and they're going to show up front is really important. Okay. And so one little reflection prompt that I can give you for this type of container is, do you feel energized after deep personal conversations, or do you feel drained? Okay. So if you feel energized and you feel like, oh my gosh, that deep conversation, and maybe the client got emotional or you got emotional, and that gives you energy, that makes you thrive, this might be right for you. If you feel really drained and really burdened and really kind of weighed down after a conversation like that, group coaching might be a better option. Okay, which we're going to talk about next. And this is going to be the traits that will often thrive in more of a group coaching setting. So oftentimes these core traits are strong facilitators, high energy communicators, big picture thinkers, comfortable managing multiple personalities, and naturally motivating and directive. So you are kind of like that. If you think about a group class, right? A group exercise class. When I used to personal train, I hated teaching group exercise classes until at a certain point. And then I actually liked it a lot, but I believe it was because I got more comfortable struggle with some of the personality traits that I was kind of trying to diminish. But I loved working one-on-one with personal coaching clients. I got asked to do a group coaching class, and I absolutely hated it because I was like, kind of almost felt like I was on stage where I was, directing and motivating, and I was kind of having to do like a lot of high energy things. And because I'm an introvert, oftentimes high energy output makes me feel drained. But if you're a strong facilitator or you are a high energy communicator, big picture thinker, comfortable managing multiple personalities, or you love kind of seeing how personalities work together and you like to kind of facilitate conversations, then group coaching might be a really great place for you to start. Okay. Some of your strengths in action would be creating group momentum and accountability, teaching frameworks and systems, and encouraging peer support. So in a group coaching container, you're able to kind of use the energy of everybody to propel everyone, right? So if you create this kind of environment where there's peer support and encouragement, it's almost like the beauty is happening within the program. And yes, you are showing up to facilitate it, but there's kind of this energetic flow between their peers that's also something that is very impactful. And I see a lot of this in the CPC mentorship, where that's my version of kind of group coaching versus, I do my actual health coaching as one-on-one, but I love the group coaching container when I'm teaching because a lot of the momentum, a lot of the knowledge, and a lot of the confidence building and the connectivity and a lot of the energy comes from just the relationships that are formed within the group. It's super fun. It has a different feel to it, right? But getting, again, a little bit more honest and familiar with what makes you tick and what feels good to you, I think is a big part of this. All right. So again, some of the strengths in action: creating group momentum and accountability, teaching frameworks and systems, and encouraging peer support. Potential challenges of this kind of container: less individual customization. So you can kind of branch off and give clients a little bit of individualized care, but generally speaking, it's less of that and more of a general, like, this is the suggestions for the whole group. This is kind of what I would, do. Maybe it's the de-stress protocol, or maybe you're teaching something on detox, right? So everybody's kind of doing similar things and you can give little bits of individualized care where needed. But another potential challenge: managing dominant versus quiet participants, right? I can see some of this in CPCs. Normally, there's probability, right? Is just that you're going to get some really outspoken, talkative, very highly participant personalities. And then there's going to be some quieter ones, and making sure that the quieter ones aren't necessarily, behind just because there's some that are talking more, and everybody's getting the same out of it, regardless of kind of their personality type within the group. And oftentimes a potential challenge of needing really strong structure and boundaries. So again, keeping a group of 30 in some sort of a progress, moving forward progress type of style could require much more structure and much more of a boundary setting, right? To make sure that everybody's moving in the same direction versus 5 are speeding forward and 10 are getting left back. So another potential challenge. All right. So my reflection prompt for you on group coaching is: do you enjoy leading conversations and guiding group dynamics? Does that make you feel energized? Does it make you feel like you would be kind of on fire doing that? Does it make you feel like it's, totally a yes? Or does it feel like I would rather just talk one-on-one with someone, right? These are the questions to kind of be asking yourself. Okay. So could you be both? Certainly, you could. Many coaches do evolve more into like a hybrid model. Again, personality can shift depending on context. Group coaching and one-on-one, right? You could do a group coaching type of program, and then you could sell into one-on-one for clients who feel like they want more one-on-one attention. That's certainly a possibility. One-on-one clients, right, can then move into a group workshop where they've gotten a lot of their individualized personal type of plan and care, and they've made made great success. And now they want to move into more of a group container for ongoing support and maintaining their results. So you can kind of shift from one to the other, especially if you feel like you might be aligned with both and one doesn't strongly speak to you. You could use group coaching to kind of funnel clients into one-on-one, or you could use one-on-ones to kind of really get clients good results and then funnel them into continuing on like a group workshop for continued results. But again, you can experiment with this, right? Just because you start a group coaching program and it doesn't really pan out the way you wanted it to, doesn't mean you can't move to one-on-one. That's the best part of this, is you are experimenting and not looking for perfection outcomes right off the bat with your first step. It could be something that you do lots of one-on-one coaching and then eventually you do group coaching for a period of time. Maybe your kind of personality morphs in a way that one has worked for you and then all of a sudden you're feeling like you need more of something else. This episode hopefully will get you kind of thinking about, based on where you are, which option, or maybe it's a hybrid option, feels like it's most doable for you. Okay. So let's kind of recap on decision framework. So again, energy. What gives you energy? Okay. What gives you kind of life versus what drains you? Skill set. What are you naturally stronger at? We can't all be perfect at everything. What are some of your strengths? Be honest about them, and that will help you decide. And then lifestyle, time flexibility versus scalability needs, right? So what is your time availability? What do you want to scale to? And that's another big part of the decision process. Okay. Some practical advice: start with one primary model. Okay. And test it with a small group, whether it's just a few one-on-one clients or a small beta group coaching group, and gather feedback, not only from the clients, but from yourself. Listen to it. I can't kind of emphasize enough how important it is for you to cut out some of the noise of what's worked for other coaches, what seems like the better financial model, what did, some business coach tell you is the best option. Quiet the noise and get really in touch with what feels best for you. What are you good at? You are all good at something. You are all really good at something. What are those things? And what feels like it's going to give you the most energy to move forward with, right? And start with that. And if it doesn't, then you pivot. You don't get frustrated. You just gather it as information. Okay, great. That's data. This didn't work, so now I'm going to try this. Really important to kind of quiet the noise and get honest and in tune with what is kind of speaking to you. Okay. It's about alignment over obligation. You don't have to do anything. You get to do this. And what are you most aligned with? Okay. I want to encourage you to reflect and experiment. So don't be kind of, again, thinking that you need to create one model that's going to serve you for your entire health coaching career. You can change. You can make different pivots. As you change, your coaching containers can change. All right. I hope that was helpful. I think it's probably one of those episodes where you've either kind of completely nailed this or it was really insightful as to kind of how you can move forward with a lot of thought process going ahead. And again, it doesn't matter which one you choose. One is not better than the other. They both have upsides. They both have downsides. The best one is the best one is the one that's best for you. And getting really honest and in tune with all the reasons why one might be better than the other for you is what's most important. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. I'll look forward to our next episode. And until then, take care.